to my first Metaphysical Mondays talk. I thought that, well, I love talking about metaphysics, so I just thought this might be something kind of fun to do. We are just living in a really exciting time right now. There are a lot of changes happening in our world. Some changes scare us, some changes maybe are invigorating us, but whatever is going on right now, we are being called forth to step into that creative being that we came here to be. So I thought I would start this off with just a quick centering meditation, right? To be open to just receiving whatever it is we need right now. So if you want to just take a deep breath and just close your eyes for a minute if you want to, right? Put your hand over your heart and just feel your connection to Source. And just quietly in your head, just repeat after me. The way is made clear before me. I do not falter or fail. The way of the Spirit is my way, and I walk the path of Spirit. My feet are kept on the path of divine purpose, and the way is prepared before me. And that is the way of path, or that is the path of peace, joy, and fulfillment. The way is bright with loving kindness. I see the way and I walk it. I rejoice at the wonder that works through me. And so it is. And this life really is about rejoicing at the wonder that works through us, through each and every one of us. That wonder is Source energy, God, Christ consciousness, the universe, the force, whatever you want to call it. It is something that is working through each of us. And so each of us have this to tap into, right? The same power that put the galaxies into their spin is also at work within each of us. So what couldn't we accomplish if we just put our mind to it, right? So today I want to talk about using inspiration for consciously co-creating. Now, I love the term inspiration. Inspiration, you know, when you tell people, I was so inspired. Oh, had the inspiration to do this. Using that word, inspiration, really implies that we've received something out of the norm, right? We received some sort of brilliant idea and we feel guided to do something about it. But inspiration is actually that actual unfoldment of an idea or a dream that will help to lead us to a plan of action that we need to take. So we get inspired with this dream first, we get inspired by a new idea, and that opens the way for us to receive the next action step we should take, right? Inspiration is not the end all and be all. Inspiration is the starting point. Now, sometimes inspiration feels kind of nice and gentle. It's not always like, oh, but sometimes it is. But sometimes it's just like, oh, that seems like a good idea. Like, I have a girlfriend and she's always trying these new fun things to make her life easier. And I think, oh, I would like to try that, right? And I feel inspired. Like, oh, I want to do some decluttering too. That just seems fun. Excuse me. So sometimes we receive that kind of inspiration, right? Like, oh, you know, maybe I would want to try waking up 20 minutes early to write down my dreams. That might be an interesting experience. But sometimes our inspirations feel really huge, right? Like if we go listen to a spiritual talk or a workshop or, you know, watching something on YouTube, right? That inspiration might feel like, wow, oh my God, I totally get that. All right. That kind of inspiration feels like excitement. It feels mind-blowing. It feels like a paradigm shift, right? Like we receive some kind of sudden understanding. So inspiration is guiding us, right? It's giving that starting point. It's waking us up. Here, this is something new for you to do. Now, inspiration, what it's actually doing is it's always just guiding us to live our divine purpose, right? To experience ourselves as an infinite being in a body. So it could be anything that we're doing, right? Because we are living our divine purpose all the time. And I want to clarify terms here really quick, because divine purpose is one of those terms that is tossed around a lot. When I say divine purpose or soul purpose, I mean the same thing, soul purpose. But what I mean is experiencing ourselves as the divine being that we are while we're in a human body. Sometimes people think that our divine purpose is like what they do, but it's not. Because if we have to live our soul's purpose, we want to live our soul's purpose as much as we can. So it can't be connected to what we do. Our soul's purpose is about how we do whatever we do. So we can live our soul's purpose all the time, no matter who we're interacting with. Now, what people are confusing soul purpose with is maybe life purpose or calling, right? And so our calling might be that specific job that we're drawn to, or hobby, or something like that. Well, we can't do that all the time, right? If we have to live our soul purpose only through our calling, we're doing it 40 hours a week, maybe, if we're lucky, right? Okay, so our divine purpose is something we experience all the time. It's not something that we do. And our life purpose or calling is something that we do. Now, inspiration, of course, works to help do both things, right? Especially if we're focused on creating our calling or finding out what our calling is or living it more fully. Inspiration certainly will help guide us to do that. See, inspiration is always guiding us to try new things, whether it's in our calling or not. But because our soul is here to always have new experiences, right? There's only so much sitting on the couch and watching Netflix that our soul can handle, right? Our soul wants to get out and experience new things all the time. So the inspiration helps us to do that. Inspiration gets us moving out of our comfort zone by getting us excited about something, right? That's why when we have those brilliant ideas, we're just like, oh, right? Mind-blowing. Now, inspiration also comes in all different sizes. Inspiration doesn't have to be that mind-blowing experience. Inspiration can be smaller, right? Now, in 2012, I was inspired by a big inspiration. That was to start my spiritual group, Bright Star. I did that for 3 years, which meant I was constantly moving into that next thing. So I had to rely on inspiration a lot, right? So I knew what my next step would be, right, to keep this going. However, I had a really powerful inspiration recently too. It was on a smaller scale, but my daughter's boyfriend came to stay with us for a little while, and I thought, well, I'll offer to do something nice for them, take them someplace, right? And so I thought, oh, I'll take them to Idlewild. Well, I love going to Idlewild. That's more for me than anybody else, right? That's not stepping out of my comfort zone. I know what I'm going to do as soon as I get up there. I always do the same things. But that wasn't really doing something that would like make their day, right? I mean, they were happy to go. They were fine with it. But it wasn't making their day. What would make their day is going to Santa Monica Pier. And I didn't want to do that. I don't like driving in traffic, heavy traffic especially, right? Who does, right? Like, oh, I love driving in heavy traffic. Now, I don't like driving in heavy traffic, and I don't know Santa Monica. I've never been there. And so that was really out of my comfort zone. And I didn't feel like I'd get anything out of it, right? So what was in it for me? So I decided I would do it, though, for them. And we drove down there, hung out for like all day long. And I was just like, man, where's a Whole Foods, man? I need some GT's Kombucha Lavender Love. It was like a stressful day for me. But my daughter and her boyfriend had a great time. And we got home that night after 9 o'clock. And I thought, wow, I did a really hard thing. To me, that was a hard thing. And I'm really happy that they were so happy. I did something for them that just made them really happy. Sometimes our inspirations look like that, right? They look like us doing something maybe we're not thrilled about doing, but we're guided to do it because it helps another person, right? So inspirations come in all sizes. That's really the point I'm trying to make. And inspiration's not always going to be, like that huge creative thing or your dream, your life dream, right? Sometimes those inspirations leading us to do little things for other people. Okay, so I just want you to know that. So inspiration gets us moving to our life calling also, right? To our life path, whatever it is we think we really just need to be doing in this lifetime. It gets us moving. It unfolds and opens the way. So I would like to just clarify the difference between unconscious co-creating and conscious co-creating, because we're always co-creating. We're just not always aware of it. Now, unconscious co-creating happens when we just react to something. Okay? So maybe you go to get your morning coffee at your favorite Starbucks, and maybe you're like 5 minutes late, and the person in front of you is ordering the most complicated drink on the menu, and you're just sighing and right? And you finally get to your turn, and maybe you're a little grouchy with the barista. Okay, that was unconsciously co-creating your day. You kind of set the tone, just by being grumpy, and then you just added so much light to somebody else's day too, right? Now, consciously co-creating, we put ourselves in the same position. Okay, maybe we're 5 minutes late, and there's a person ahead of us, okay? But we don't let ourselves fall into that space of reacting. Instead, we choose, we make a choice, consciously co-create. So when it's our turn, we order our drink, and we're pleasant to the barista. All right, we tell them, have a nice day. All right, that's just a minor difference, okay? Or that's a big difference, actually. All right, but see, think about how you're making choices all day long. Sometimes you're unconsciously choosing. If you're reacting, getting all fired up, maybe you went on Facebook, right? And one of your friends was posting some political stuff that you disagree with, and maybe you think it's really mean, and it just ruins your day. And you think you have to unfriend them or block them, or maybe call them up and set them straight. I don't know. But if you consciously choose to co-create your day, maybe you'll back up. Maybe you'll just go away from their page. Or maybe you'll just remind yourself, we all have different ideals. And the more reactive somebody is, the more unconscious they are. Okay, maybe they're having a really tough day. Maybe you can't even justify anything they've done, so you just have to not think about it and choose to focus on something that will not make you so crazy. But see, all day long, we're making those choices. When we choose unconsciously, though, we tend to have more suffering in our own experience, okay? So this is important. And inspiration will help us open the way so that we can make a conscious choice so that maybe we have a little better experience, right? Have a little less suffering. Now, inspiration, because when it's a big one, it feels so transformative, a lot of times people will stop right there. But inspiration is not the transformation. This is an important point. A lot of times people will experience such a powerful inspiration. They feel like they've had a paradigm shift. But after a while, that wears off and they go back to doing the same thing. Okay? So there was not really a transformation that took place. Inspiration, that's all in the realm of thought. And there's not a lot happening out there that happens here without our taking some sort of action, okay? Albert Einstein said nothing happens until something moves, right? So when we are inspired, we can't just enjoy that feeling of inspiration. We have to ask that next question. What do I do with this? Okay, what do I do now, right? That's the big question. One of the simplest things that I like to do this, and you can do this, it's so easy. When you receive an inspiration, just write it down. Write down what inspired you so. And then right after that, just ask the question, what can I do about this? What needs to be done? What do I have to change to bring this into my life, right? Because when you write down those questions, you're giving your brain a new program to run. And you know what? Your brain is a beautiful, wonderful computer that just serves you by working on all those questions you're always asking. So when you ask, what would I have to do? What would I have to change? What would I have to let go to allow this to come into my life? Your brain goes to work on that, right? Think about this right now. What kind of questions are you asking all day long, right? Why did that have to happen to me? Why did that person have to be so mean, right? Why did these bad things happen? Well, your brain's going to find those answers for you because it's a powerful, wonderful, beautiful computer that just wants to get you all the answers. So ask the questions that you want to have answered instead of the questions that you really don't want to know. Okay, so an inspiration is that first thing that happens, right, to open the way, to allow our divine guidance. The next thing we have to do then, really the first step after receiving that inspiration then, is to take some sort of inspired action. This is what will move our inspiration from the realm of possibility into probability. There's a big difference in possibility, right? Everything's a possibility. You know, I could win the lotto, or I could become a YouTube gazillionaire, right? Is it possible? Yeah, it is. Is it probable? Well, not really. I don't do a ton of videos, and I never buy a lottery ticket. Okay? We move things from possibility into probability by taking action, right? Now, I always love to use this example of my son because he plays drums, but he wanted to become a musician, right? And that's totally in the realm of possibility for anybody, really, to become a musician. But he had to get a drum set, and he spends hours and hours a week practicing, and he's done that for about 10 years now. He wanted to be in a band. That was his goal. Was it possible he could be in a band? When we looked back when he was 10 years old, it's like, well, it's a possibility that when you grow up, you could be in a band. My son now is in 3 bands at one time because he just loves playing so much. Okay, so now it's highly probable, of course, he is in a band. This is what happens when we take an inspired action. We then move our whatever it is we want to do from the realm of possibility into probability. Once something gets into the realm of probability, it's more likely to take root in our physical life, okay, here in 3D. So it comes from the 5th dimension into the 4th dimension and into the 3rd dimension. All right, so inspired action takes some effort, and it takes consistency. And I know a lot of spiritual people don't like to hear this whole effort and consistency thing because they want the universe to just do all the work for them. Well, the universe simply matches every step that we take. It's not going to do more, not going to do less. So we have to make some effort. And the thing about taking an effort for something is that it doesn't mean it's bad just because it took an effort. I mean, it took effort for me to set this up today because I actually had to schedule it in, right? It took effort to get up and shower and get dressed. It takes effort to do all these things, right? But we don't think about it. If you are following divine guidance and inspired action, whatever it is that you're being called to do won't feel like effort. It's just going to feel like fun, right? Or at least it's going to feel like it has a good flow to it. Okay? So, just because something is effortless doesn't mean that it's going to work, right? Effortless is fine if that's what happens, but put in effort. It's okay to put in effort. It still can be fun. It still can be fun. So the next step that we have to take then after our inspired action is then to act on opportunities. When we get inspired and we take that inspired action, that puts us on a frequency to attract opportunities. Okay, this is important, right? Because we want to be in vibrational alignment with what it is we want to create in our life. And so as we're taking inspired action, we're putting ourselves in vibrational alignment with that. So we're attracting opportunities that will help us with that. Years ago, I used to have a client. She decided out of the blue that she wanted to become like a chef. Not for a restaurant, but she just wanted to cook fun things for her family and friends and have dinner parties and stuff like that. Then I saw her not too long after that, and she's telling me how she took all these classes. I'm like, where did you find all those classes? And she's like, oh, they're just right here in town. Well, I live in the same community she lives in, and I never heard of any of those cooking classes. Well, because I'm not in vibrational alignment with that. I had no interest in learning, to do that kind of cooking. But she was in vibrational alignment, so she was able to see all of the opportunities that came her way. The next step that we have to do, and this can in many ways is the hardest step, we have to be able to trust ourselves. Because when we get inspired to do something, and then we take that action, we're drawing new opportunities to us, which are going to put us out of our comfort zone. And this is where our ego or our fear-based mind is going to start trying to get us to stop doing something different, stop doing something exciting. It wants to pull us back into the comfort zone. We have to trust ourselves to take that next action and to be able to do that thing that's being called for us. Okay, think about this. If you're being guided, you're receiving the divine guidance to do something, it means you can do it. So even if it's something new or you don't understand how you're going to work it out in the long run, just keep following the divine guidance and you're going to get through it. You'll keep getting that next bit of information to help you to get to where it is you need to be, outside of your comfort zone, right? That's the goal, getting outside of the comfort zone. Now you can have many great ideas in your head. This is a quote from Don Miguel Ruiz, okay? You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, and no reward. You are a channel for some sort of inspired expression or an idea that is looking for a channel, right? That's how I see it. I see these ideas, these experiences that want to come into 3D manifest are looking for channels, and we have to be able to carry that light for them. They're looking for you, right? They're trusting that you will be able to carry the amount of light possible to allow them to manifest. There is a bright idea right now that has chosen you, that you were meant to channel into this life, right? So all you have to do is just trust that it was put there. It was put there for a reason, right? It chose you for a reason. It chose you because it knows that you are capable of carrying the amount of light necessary to allow it to express and to manifest, okay, into physical form. Now, consciously co-creating, listening to inspiration, allowing the inspiration to open the way so that we can receive that information on how to take the next inspired action, and then be open to those opportunities, and then trusting ourselves to move forward into that. That will all lead to transformation. That's what leads to transformation. That is what leads to a more expanded, awakened consciousness, right? Stepping out of our comfort zone and trusting that divine guidance, trusting that our higher self to help us to move forward into the brightest version of ourselves that we can be in that moment. That is what gives us that transformational experience we're looking for. So that's it for today on my talk on inspiration and co-creation, conscious co-creation. I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope that you will go out and do something with this, because right now, remember, the world needs your light. There's something that wants to work through you right now. So just remember, you are a divine child of a loving creator. You are a force for good. You are a light, and you light the way. In everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is.